Good afternoon, listeners. If you just bear me a minute, I would come back and start this program. Just bear me a minute. Just need to craft something. I'll be back in a minute. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, listeners. Let me just share this video and I will start the program. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good afternoon, listeners. It's me, Suleiman Ben Swai, coming back on Facebook Live for a brief conversation regarding why we need to be proactive There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and it seems the stakeholders, I know Facebook is agitated or responding. We can see the concerns from Facebook. And I know people will turn around to say, but Facebook doesn't determine what happened. No, Facebook does not. But what Facebook does is echo what is actually happening. Whether it's been dealt with or not, that's what it does. But we'll have to look at these practical things. And why is it a concern? Why do we need to be proactive? And prevention is better than cure. And how do we prevent something? We are all conscious of what is happening. We are all seeing what is happening. But it seems that the people, the stakeholders, be it the parliament, be political party, be civil society, the institutions responsible, are kind of disengaged in the issues that are very critical to guarantee the peace and stability of the country, to avoid that country being destabilized. And if we learn from our history, or learn from history itself, but let's just concentrate in our short history, or very recent history. The reason we had the dictator, I don't want to go by, but we all know the reason why we had a dictator. The reason the dictator stayed so long. And if we look at what we have done in order to get rid of the dictator. Now, if you look at what's going on, which I'm going to point out, we should be worried. Are we doing something? Are we doing something to avoid this end up being a major problem? As we said, we meant to be in a transition, but we had a continuity of a government that is doing or working or behaving the same way, apart from the human rights abuses, and that goes credit to us, not government, because that's not the role of government to do, to abuse us. But if we let any government, that government will abuse us. That goes to the credit of the people. I cannot understand when people go to credit government, but at least they don't abuse the people. Do you expect a government to abuse you? No. That lack of abuse is because of us. We don't put a person in there to abuse us. But the person is abusing us in other ways. The lack of care to our healthcare system is an abuse. Lack of care to our education is an abuse. Lack of care to our economy to make sure we have a conducive environment for investment so that we can have growth, so that Gambians can benefit is an abuse. The corruption, the misuse of our resources, mineral resources, the misuse of the resources given to government, collected through taxation, is an abuse. We have so many range of abuses. And if people think that the government is not responsible, or the government at least is not killing people or imprisoning people or torturing people, that's not true. Because of this government lack of failure of this government in administration, the failure of this government to take up the agendas that they were voted for, to transform the system, to deliver on this transformation by going through a reform of institutions, and introduce these reforms to the people for them to vote it for, as in the case of CRC. That's a failure, but that failure ensured we had the problem here. The lack of investment in areas that we need to invest on the youths. But what do you think of? Let's send the army, let them deal with the youths. And we think that we are dealing with solutions. We are not addressing corruption. This and people are dying in hospitals. People are being killed. And who do we blame for this? We blame this government for not doing the right things. If they had done the right things, we would not have been having this problem. And again, this issue about the credibility of our elections, people having concern about this voter registration, attempt to fraudulently win the elections. These are evidence, these are facts. When we talked about these things, people thought it's paranoia or whatever it is. No, but because we learn from history. We don't wait for things to happen to us again. We learn from the past and prepare ourselves. That's why we need to be proactive. Putting that one thing aside, let's look at the solutions. Things that we have done right in order to bring about this change, to make sure we have the dictator out. But let's say it was forced on us. It was to the last minute, six weeks. It was forced on us. Why did it take that long? Because we were divided. Divided on what? Personal ambitions. You see, we don't have differences, much of differences. Most of the differences we call of are non-existent. No, but we choose to put those little tiny specks under a microscope and blow them out to represent the problems when that's not the problems. Because selfish people want to put that in front of us to be our problem. Yes, once it's put out there under a microscope in that manner, it becomes the problem. Because that's what people say. But the people with minds would see that's not actually, we will able to, but most people would not be. What they have to do is but react to something put in front of them. Tribalism. Tribe. It's not tribe. No, someone is putting tribe out there for a purpose. Just as the colonials did. Just as the colonials did, just as the politicians do. When do we have tribe problems? I've never been to a what you call kulio or naming ceremony. And I start to hear that this tribe has to sit this way, that tribe has to sit that way. No. Most kulio we go to are between two tribes. Most kulios we go to, if you look at the statistics, most kulios we go to are between tribes. And logically, it's between the tribes who are perceived to be rivals. Because of what? The social interest. I never been to a burial or this thing or heard of one, and they said that one tribe did not turn up. A particular tribe did not turn up. We can go on. Why? It's only when it's time for elections. When you go to the hospitals, it's never about tribe. When you go to schools, it's never about tribe. When you go to the market, it's never about tribe. We all suffer under the same system. And it's the same people. That I don't want to take time again to talk about tribe, but let's go on to the points. And we all know where the facts are. But if we feel like our individual interest is more important, that's where we lead ourselves again to problems. But these are problems which not happen. We came together, we put the last minute, we took so long. It wasn't magic. It was Gambians that came together. It was not the international that brought us together, it was us that came together. And we brought about the change. We stood together until we had support from the international community. That's our history. Then we have the strength of coming together. We have strength of doing things together. We have the strength, you know how to do things. But before that, let's just look at issues now, because I don't want to spend much time in this. I quite busy with things. Let's just look at the scheduled diplomacy. I am talking now to us. We are talking, but I am taking the stakeholders, taking the state stakeholders, the parliament, civil society, to a minor degree. Not that they don't have responsibilities, but and political parties. We are watching these things happening. This government is going on a shuttle diplomacy in the sub-region. It has never happened this way. Almost every week, the foreign affairs minister is in Guinea, is in Senegal, is in Guinea-Bissau, it's in Ivory Coast, it's in Togo, it's in Ghana, and all these things. Constantly. What are they anticipating? We should ask ourselves, what is all this scheduled diplomacy is in election year? Election year emphasize. Why talking about we are going to show our appreciation for the help we had 4 years ago? Why didn't we show our appreciation months after when we received that help? What appreciation we showing? We all had the Nigerian president. Why they're not sending to Nigeria? Because they started from Nigeria. And Buhari, a general, said to Adam Barrow himself, go and set your problems. We have enough problems on our own. And we have done so much for you, and you should be appreciative of your people and do what your people want. That was what was said. You see, we easily forget. We easily forget. But this government was all accountable by Nigeria. Now, they can't get what they want from there. Now they're trying to do things. And we remember around the time, this government did not tell us. We learn always from outside that the government is trying to get economic police force, a contingent. That's a recipe for disaster. The Gambia, we had 4 years of democratic rule. The Gambia, we are sending contingents to peacekeeping. These are the contradictions. Gambia, we have economic in there. Gambia, 4 years, we have not had an open conflict. What's the problem? Is this indication of failure? Why do we still want to expect which country would invite international police to intervene for a time of elections, unless you are a country that come out of country or I mean, like in Liberia and other places that have the problem. But why is Parliament still not talking about this issue? We are going to wait for it to happen. Why the political parties are not talking about this issue? Let me emphasize here, all political parties should have one interest. Yes, there are party interests, but one interest they should have is mutual. That's the national interest. Nobody can govern that country when we are in an open country. Nobody. Why do we want to govern? It's because of the people. To put them together, to be on a peace. Why we don't hear the interparty? Why can't you come through the interparty to address these problems? That's why I am asking us, who belong to political parties, who empathize with political parties, but ask your party leaders, what are they doing? How are they handling this problem? Are they not seeing what is coming to us? Barrow realized that he can't win election. He can't. I said this. How many years? From the beginning, I advised Barrow, don't do it. Don't do it. They're telling you, but you can't. You don't have the capacity. It's not an easy thing to do. Abide by what you agree with Gambians and you'll be celebrated. No. We have seen this coming. But let's go back to it. They're trying to get economic police. For what reason? What's wrong with our police? What's wrong with us Gambians? Why do we expect that we're going to kill each other? Why do we expect that we're going to fight? Why do we have those expectations? Why not clear those expectations? If we have reason to doubt, why can't we do something about it? We are not trying to clear anything. But we are planning a contingency plan in order for foreign police to come and intervene. We have to be careful. I don't have time to go into the dangers of all that. I'll be derailed. I'll just point to it. It's Gambia to think about it. But another day we'll talk about these things. The security implications. It's not a good idea. Bringing economic police, I'm saying. Security is about avoiding. Let me just put it that way. The best form of security is to avoid. But in the course of planning, you have what we call contingency planning. That's where the physical security comes in. What we do, what if. But in the first instance, is to avoid it completely. Nip it in the bud. Avoid it completely. And that we can do without resorting into using force, without resorting into getting the army, into police, or anything else. But we fail on that. That's why I want to say, bringing economic police, we will not solve it. And I tell Gambians this. When that happened, I don't have the dates anymore, but I've talked about this yet. Barrow knew that economic presence cannot be seen in the streets to deal with Gambians. You see, Barrow knew that he cannot win elections. Barrow knew that he's going to fraudulently try to win the elections, and who will try to resist. I'm saying this today. Again, I'm saying it again. Gambians, keep this in record. Barrow cannot win the elections. Barrow will try everything possible. And we are seeing that evidence now. But I said that before. Months and months and months. That Barrow cannot win an election. When he was trying to fraud, I talked about this months and weeks, days ago. Now, I am pointing at this. He is looking at a way to force himself if he can manage to steal this election. Because he knows that he cannot rely on the Gambia Armed Forces. And I'm not going to go deep into Gambia Armed Forces again. But it's a ticking time bomb. That's all I can tell you guys. The Gambia Armed Forces is a ticking time bomb. Barrow doesn't have control over that. Who have control over that is a discussion for another day. Gambian people can have control over them if we have the leadership. Generally, I mean, the people in the Gambia Armed Forces are not bad people, but the institution is dysfunctional. The institution is dysfunctional. The institution is not led properly because the institution was not reformed. Let's leave it at that. That's a discussion for another day. Then Barrow knows that he cannot have control over that. He cannot bring the army out. In the case, because he have no control over the armed forces. The police would not be able to stop Gambian people once they believe that they have won that election. Now he's looking at ways to bring this economic police. But that's not a solution to it. How many thousand economic police are you going to bring? And if you bring them, what do you think the Gambian police will feel? Already, you know what the Gambia Armed Forces feel about economic presence. This is what we call mission creep. It happens everywhere. But again, these are security issues we talk about. I'm talking about let's prevent this. Let's prevent this. This is one thing they're going to settle. They did a subtle diplomacy trying to get government support to fraudulently win the elections. Now they're doing a subtle diplomacy. Tangara was in Ivory Coast, Tangara was in Togo, Tangara was in all these countries. Now they're trying to put it through the ECOWAS. But again, we have to be very careful. The dynamics in Senegal have changed. Macky Sall have enough on his plate right now. Barrow realized that. You hear the movement going out now, different movements, but the most energized movement, and which is more worrisome for Macky Sall, is Futa Tampi. Futa Tampi in Fula means Futa are tired. The Futankas are tired. That means the region of Futa Toro are tired of Maki. And Maki went there. I mean, he was received. How was he received? He was called Maki Alababa. Maki doesn't have a father. And some people went and even born Maki's at his ancestral home, or what he adopted to be an ancestral home in Futa Toro. That's how much he's having problem. That's his atma. That's what he perceived, or people perceive to be his atma. And because of all the other failures that are going on, that all the divisive politics they had played is blowing over them. Because now the youths have taken over. And the youths are taking over. Just as the youth took over around Ablaiwad. And Maki used that in order to take power, and now he's doing the same thing, and now the youth have coming up again. Who is going to benefit from it? I don't know. But that's time, matter of time and Senegal to deal with. Why am I saying this? We don't expect, and we cannot expect to get into trouble and expect people to come and get us. What is parliament for? What is the interparty for? What are political parties for? It's not about coming out, going to party militants all the time. It's not about registering a political party and sit down thinking that elections will come and positioning yourself. Why did we have political parties? Why people want to aspire to be presidents? Why are we fascinated about who is likely to be president? How many candidates? Why are we fascinated in that? Why not the substance that is happening? And I'm going to take it of this substance, and Gambian will have a look at it. And it's proven, we can see the evidence because it has happened before. Settled diplomacy now, our economic, voter cast economic, what are we doing? We didn't do anything about it. But we all had. We have seen the reaction. Some people will say UDP is overreacting. Some people will say that out of concern, thinking some of the videos they show, some of the things they saw is overreaction. That's what some people believe. And they might genuinely think that because that's how they see things. People have opinion. Is it facts? No, it's an opinion. Some people will say, yeah, we do anything possible to protect the integrity of our elections. And others, that's the extreme. Because that's the way they can deal with things. They have to go to the extreme. They have limitations. They lack the maturity. There are many things. There are others who say we should be proactive and do anything by the rule of law to stop this, to make sure our elections are integrated, which I subscribe in. We do everything. We should not be silenced by being labeled tribalist. We should be silenced by being labeled xenophobic. No. Because of the people doing it wants to silence us by calling us tribalists and xenophobes. We should not be shying away from that. It's a lie. Why you care about someone's lives? If you believe in what you believe in, why care about someone's life? Because that's the only way. That's the only way they can have what they want. Just a minute, let me open the door for more. That's the only way they can get things out of us. Why is it? Because we are concerned citizens. We have seen the evidence, and I said this. Again, it's not that we were not proactive. We had them saying it. We see their desperation. They cannot consolidate. Barack cannot consolidate. But he tried everything. Used money and everything. It did not work out. What left? We had them saying that they're going to bring Gambians who are farming in Senegal. That was a lie. Gambians, it's all a lie. We said this is what they're going to do, and we see the amount of attestation and all this nonsense. We seen it. And some Gambians expect us to be quiet. or saying that, oh, just anybody with you just leave him there. You think how many people can be hurt in the reverse courts? Prevention is better than cure. Why do we look the other way when we see that something was wrong? Why not address it there? Why do we have to wait for the courts? How many days the courts are going to sit? How many people the courts going to process in a day? Why do we have to wait? What for? Someone is breaking the law. You asking me to wait? Let them break the law and after we be called into the courts. Is that what the law says? When you have reason to believe, suspicion, you have to act lawfully through the due process I'm talking about. But this is what citizens and citizens should do. But why are the inter-party politicians quiet about this? Why are they not concerned? Why we don't see our politicians come together as an inter-party? Why did we have the inter-party? Is to mediate, to work together as stakeholders, to avoid problems, to be proactive, to progress things, so that we can have a peace, stability, and that's what we have before. But no. How many political parties do we have which are genuine? We know most of them are not. They probably, it's all about making something out of it. We have few genuine political parties. Then if we even have 5 genuine political parties, or 6 or 7, why can't we have these people come together and force the hands of others, if they come in or not, and let them speak through one voice? What mutual interest? Regardless who does it would be wrong. It's not about only NPP doing it, but generally it's in the NPP. Some people might be using attestation to move voters in one area to another, which is wrong as well. All these things can be addressed, but no. Why are we quiet about it? You see, this is what can avoid. If we have the people speak out, stakeholders speak out, would take the, would not create a vacuum. We creating a vacuum and people will speak out because of social media have given everybody a voice. And that's why some people would speak out and speak out wrong. We should work collectively in tackling this. The other issue is the desperation now that even is, you see, the amount of stealing. You see, Yaya Jammeh used to steal the elections. Yaya Jammeh used to use voter fraud to guarantee a win. But the amount that you need, the amount of fraud but Barrow need to do, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's possible if we sit back and watch. If we sit back and watch, what we have is we owe it to we owe it to our country as individuals to speak out, to do something about it. But especially, we have a mandate as political parties, we have a mandate as institutions and leaders to do something about it. The other issue, now they're desperate about this, it's like the NPP does not have anything to sell to Gambians. We have seen their projects, the so-called projects they say they own nothing. Look at the road in Hakalang. Now they want to, look at that. Do you know how many millions been spent in Hakalang? Go and check that. And you see what they're doing there? You see what they did to Bakau? The forced rains, not big rains, forced rains, Bakau flooded because of the bad job done. All because they want to do it quick for elections. But all that is very bad, but worst. Now we all hear NPP attacking Mama Kande, attacking GDC, and using tribe as an issue. We have seen them, use tribe before, bringing different tribes. They will try everything. But we need to speak out. Need to speak out. Let them sell their agenda. But they cannot sell tribe as a lie. There is no Mandinka that can stand in the Gambia and say that he's going to protect the entire interest of Mandinkas. There's no Fuller that can stand in the Gambia and say he's going to protect the entire interest of entire business. They are all lies. Anybody say that is lying. They are politicians. We hold them accountable to make them better. We are all intermarried. We are all related. There's no person who can have something and not benefit the other tribes. Your tribe is Gambia for that matter. I cannot even waste time to go through that anymore. It's just silly. Keep on repeating this. If we can see it, let be it. Then we choose to ignore it. But I am telling Gambians, if we continue to listen to these idiots, fanning these things, they themselves don't believe it. They themselves don't believe it. We all know each other. They themselves don't believe it. All because of that they think they have to win. And I am saying this again. A game is being played here. And those people that support other political parties, apart from NPP and UDP, be very careful. They are selling a narrative. Is NPP or UDP? This is the narrative that they're selling to you people. And if anybody today tells you that he knows what is going to happen in 4th December, is lying. If anybody says it's a strategist or what you know is lying. What we can tell you is if today elections were held, if elections are held in 4th December, you have to look at certain factors. How much people are registered? Who are these people registered? You see, that's why registration is very important. Registration is very important. Who are the people registered? Are these people based on party? If it's based on party, then it's a given. If we base most people that register are from political parties, then those political parties are lying to me. The party that makes sure their members register more. But let's look at this. Political parties have membership. Does not mean that their membership represented the entire population. No, it's just a portion of the population. Generally, people that vote don't belong to political parties. This is a fact of politics. The only place you go and find that is in the dictatorship. Generally, every political party have membership. These are card-holding members, contributing or not card-holding members, and are always in the minority compared to the majority that does not subscribe to a political party but do vote in elections. How do you win elections? To win over the undecided. We call them undecided. I mean, in different countries, it works different ways. Let me give you an example. In the United Kingdom, when it comes to elections, the 10 points that political parties try to use to win is something to entice the pensioners, because they know that pensioners will vote. Second point is for the middle class, because the middle class are the swing voters. You know what they look for? Policy. Policy of what? Their pensions. Policy of what? Their savings. Taxation. Policy of what? The access to services. These policies they look at policy. They don't subscribe to any political party. They go Labour. That's why Labour stayed for 18 years, because of the policies were middle class. You see, the people who really suffer in United Kingdom, that this be ethnic minorities or poor white people, you can give them the best socialist policies, that you put money in anything you do. Do you know what? They won't bother to vote. They won't bother to go and vote. Even postal voting, they don't bother to do it. That's how ignorance, poverty is. Now, policies would be tailor-made by election today's. In the Gambia, it's a different thing. Now, the undecided voters who should decide. That's why, one, you have to think of how did the voter register go? If we have a very good turnout of voter registration, it's hopeful for, shows another thing. Now, as a political party, you have to think of now, how can I get a chunk of this? One, two, elections happen in a month, 2 months. There are factors that will come into play that might change voters. Even voters in political parties might decide to change a month after due to something happening. Change of candidate. Change of candidate. A candidate might come in a political party and it changes everything. A leadership change can bring everything. Give you an example again. The Labour Party here was completely dead. We had the Michael Foot, the Neil Kinnock and others. But they revamped the party and come with a new leadership called the New Labour Project. New Labour Project won the elections. A landslide. When they have stayed out of the government for 18 years. Landslide and governed for 18 years. In the Gambia, now we have, I'll tell you, we have democracy right now. It depends whether we use it or not. Now, nobody can tell you that. But no, now, NPP is wanting to believe that. We want to make you people to believe. If it's not Barrow, it's UDP. You think UDP have a problem with that? No. UDP will be happy. Apart from NPP, it's us. You think if we are courting the same woman and we have 10 people courting the same woman, they forget married to the woman, and now it's narrowed down to 2 of us, I'll be in a better position. But until it's over, it's nothing over. It's not yet over. You have to get the elections to determine that. We have seen in 2016, it took 6 weeks for everything to change. 6 weeks, what happened? People come together. 6 weeks, what happened? We had one candidate. Yes, we had another candidate, Mama Kande, there. But imagine if everybody was one candidate. Again, imagine that if Gambians have registered to vote, do you know that 2016, when we went to the campaign, we were shocked to find out how many Gambians would tell you, I don't have a voter card. Or to the last minute, because it was 6 weeks, there's no time to find your voter card or what do you call it again? Get another one? Oh, I don't know where my voter card is. This is what they used to tell us. I don't know where my voter card is. Or I don't have voter card. Oh, I forgot this. But now they want to vote. Now they have seen it because they never seen the possibilities of winning the elections. Or they can live in power. Some people will tell then she convenience to them. They have to convince them, sign it, and like that's all you have to do with them. You see, again, the conditions was even a dictatorship, but we managed to do that. Now, what do we have? We have a democracy. We have not got a nomination. We don't know the candidates. But do you know the party that is more organized is likely to win? More organized, and that organization has to go to the ballot. Not organized today, and tomorrow you lose it all. You have to keep that. You have to sustain it and go to the ballot. Is the election decided? No, it's not decided yet. People have not voted. We have not got to voting yet. We are at the registration period, and this is a milestone to think about. It's a milestone to think about. We have to achieve this milestone to get our people to register, undecided to register. Then we go on through it, continue to win people over, up to elections. Then we put our policies and everything, say, this is where we want. But what are we doing now? We are seeing all this tribalism going up. It's not tribalism, but they're making a case for tribalism because that's what they want us to concentrate on. They don't want us to concentrate on our hospitals. They don't want to concentrate on our schools. They don't want to concentrate on our youth development because there's no youth development. That's why I have youth violent crime. They don't want to concentrate on the issue about drugs. They don't want us to concentrate on this. What do they want to concentrate on? On fighting each other, on our differences, and they can bring the money. Those are issues that we need to look at. But let me move on to some other things. The other things that we need to really look at as Gambians. And these are happening. And our stakeholders seems not to care. Let me just start this point here. I said, where are our political parties or politicians and the press? Where are the politicians and our press? Where are they? Let's look at this thing. I'm going to point to certain things that are happening. And we did not hear Parliament. We did not hear political parties deal with it. I'm not saying this to make a personal statement. I'm not saying this to release an audio, WhatsApp audio. Constructively engage the issue. Engage the issue. Engage the state people that are responsible. And if necessary, go to court. We have not heard the press, Gambia. What the Gambia press does, they go to Facebook. Someone puts something controversial, they take it and make it a news. It's not already on Facebook. It's already dealt with Facebook. People have time to react to that and deal with it. Why do you want to put that in the print media? Why do you want to put that on your page? You lack content. You don't have content. Another thing they do, they get something about Gambia, they hear it in the international press. They bring that and just put it as news. They would not take time to go through that. Ask the questions, go and find out. No. They just put that out there. Is it the way, do we think that's the way to engage our people? Do you think that's the way to educate our people? Do you think that's the way we should hold news up in order to hold our technocrats or politicians accountable? By lifting a story in the international press and just put it as news, or going to social media, look for controversy and just put it on as news. What we have today is social media holding accountable. And I'll tell you, if they tell you that they don't care about social media, they're lying. Because we know how much they run to us, trying to silence us in many ways. Trying to silence us in many ways because we know. Let me move on to this. Whilst we are concentrating on who wants to be a president, the Finance Ministry and the Central Bank of the Gambia are engaged in voodoo economics. Whilst we are concentrating on who want to be president, presidential candidate, we have major issues. Let me just reply to this guy. It's something important, and I am on live. So just a minute. But the Central Bank of the Gambia and the Minister of Finance are engaged in voodoo politics, economics. Why did I say this? Remember, I came and said, talked about when the Minister of Finance, the Central Bank Governor, Boa City, Mambure Njai, and the GRA, Yankuba Dabo, the managing director of GRA, Yankuba Dabo, when they had a meeting, that's months ago. I said they're having a meeting. because the government is having a problem with financial cash flow. Due to what? Remember, we abandoned the NDP. We failed. We didn't have the support, budget support that we meant to have to deliver the promises we gave to the international community, promises we gave to Gambians, or we took up. Now, they have constraints. These people advised Barrow that to win the elections, you have to have political projects. These are the Kakalang roads, these are the markets and everything. How can they pay for this? They said domestic borrowing. That's borrowing from the country. They never thought about working it out. They believe that they can have enough money to do that from the domestic market. They went on, they could not do it. Now that's why they had the meeting, strategizing on how to raise the money for political projects, not to govern Gambia right. You look at the evidence. When I said that, people that follow can go and check my timeline. When I talk about these things, I'm pointing, they're looking at how to do things. And we have seen the evidence now. Let's look at it. We recently heard from the central bank governor easing the lending mechanism for commercial banks, by the commercial banks to government. This is sustainable. Now they've exhausted. Now he's easing the lending mechanism, criteria, so the government can borrow more money. For the Singate posted that meat was 200 and something a kilo. Now it's almost 300 and something kilo within a day or so. These are the problems it creates. And there are other modern problems. The other problems you all seen the safer going up, dollars going down, depreciating. We have seen the price, high, the cost of commodities, basic commodities, and so on. But they don't care about it. But this is to enable the government to complete their political projects and disregard their responsibility to control inflation on the economy by implementing and control over the monetary policies. The Central Bank of the Gambia have this mandate to control the monetary policies, to put a mechanism so that inflation will be controlled. They should do that with the interests of the country, not a political party, not the interest of the president, not the political party. You see, these things did happen before in other countries. I give you United Kingdom for that matter. You know, only to forecast the economy was done in a manner within the treasury here, and it became a political nightmare because now the government wanted to give out figures or focus that were not true in order to please their political party in governance. And these things happen and cause a lot of economic nightmare. And they realize that if in order to do this right, we have to give a total independence to the central bank, Bank of England. That's our central bank. They have to give them total decision to decide interest rates and everything. Secondly, they have to base it on sound economic decisions, not political. That's what they decide. And it was the new Labour project decided that. The Conservatives came and even pushed it further. Said that not only that, now we have a special Bureau of Statistics that will not have nothing to do with politics, that will focus, that will cost government projects. If government come and make a statement about policy about something, these people will look at it and say, no. Is it this or that? They will give the information right. Now, political parties benefit from the information, civil society will benefit, citizens will benefit, and hold government accountable. Access to, further down the line, they said not only that, access to information, freedom to access information, you ask the questions. And yes, national security is put into account, but if it's not, the threshold is not about national security, this thing will be done. But not in the Gambia. Now we have seen this thing happen. This is a fact. Did we hear political parties address this properly? No. How can they do this? That's the program another day. But political parties should know how to hold government accountable. Have they addressed this? No. Have we here Parliament addressed this? No. Civil society? No. These are things that we deal with in social media. Is it enough? No. But at least we are doing something. But we have to go to our political parties and ask them, what is happening with our Gambian economy? Why the central bank is going to, trying to get government to access more loans in order to do projects that are not going to impact directly. And we meant to look at things that are very productive now. Yeah, we need these things, but we have to have priority. If not, we are going to have problems. We cannot borrow ourselves out of this. Another second point, a second major event our politicians and press choose to ignore, apart from MC Cham Jr., I would say, apart from GDC, I heard when I put this note, sorry, these are start notes I took. I'm not saying that I see everything that happened, but according to what I observed, apart from MC Cham Jr., is about the recent removal of Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation Chairman Board of Directors without any reason. Any reason for it. Let me clarify this. The Chairman Board of Directors of Social Security was removed. What led to this removal? We don't know. The President just did that. But we are not stupid. The President just don't do something without reason. Whether he advances reason or not, we as citizens, we should think of why. If there's no problem with the board of chairman doing the right things, why remove him? Remove people that we have seen doing wrong things or not being effective. We did not think about that. But yeah, apart from Facebook, MC Camp Jr., I can say I've seen press release or something dealing with this issue. To be replaced by a political party executive member of the president, which is against the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia. More importantly, is the evidence of how the Social Security was misused by the dictator with the help of the present finance minister and the appointed chairman board of director, who was at the trust bank, part of the senior officers that facilitated the dictator's financial transactions. What I was trying to point out here from my notes, not only because of MC Cham have pointed out, and which is right in the constitution we have, if you are a member, executive members of a political party, executive member, you should not hold the position of managing director. We have seen the president try the same person. Let me join up, trying to get him to be at the IC as deputy chair. We made noise out of that, they withdraw that. Now he's taken to Social Security. Why should we be concerned? We should be concerned about the way Social Security was used. And by who? The dictator. By who facilitated that? The present finance minister. Mamboy Njai. The minute Mamboy Njai left the Social Security as MD, he went to become the 2011, I think, being the finance minister, and he made the president aware of the liquidity of Social Security, and they started to raid Social Security. But not only that, the present chairman, the person appointed now, Mr. Joyner, was a senior banking executive at the Trust Bank. We all have read or seen or heard or watched the Janney Commission. And we know the role the senior executive in the bank played in, and Trust Bank for that matter have been sanctioned by the Janney Commission that they facilitated. They did something wrong. They facilitated transactions that should not have been facilitated. They've been penalized for that. But a member of that bank, a senior member of that bank who oversaw it now is the chairman. Why are political parties not picking on this? As I said, apart from MC Trump Jr. post, why are we concentrating on just running when we don't know that elections can be won in different ways? It's stolen in many ways. Finances, resources. We have to look at all this. We cannot just be running to our people. We should hold the government accountable. This is serious. Why we don't hear the civil society organizations that are, say that they are there to hold these transparency issues, raising this point? Why is Parliament not inviting the minister and the oversight authorities on this? Why do we allow this to happen? We'll look at that later. Another point, because I just want to leave it. The third point, I've spoke about the first point, which is, what they started. The second point and the third point. More disturbing is the report from the international press of the governor of the central bank seeking services of Nigeria to print our national currency. Our national currency. We did not hear that from the Gambia press. We did not hear that talked about in Parliament. We did not hear that anywhere in the Gambia. We had that in the international press. And what did the Gambia press do? Lift it from the international press and just, verbatimly, just put it out there. They did not do any analysis. They did not bother to fact check some of these things. They did not go and interview the central bank governor. They didn't go and interview the Minister of Finance. They did not go and interview the select committee looking after financial conduct authority. These things have been not done. All they did was Gambia, to print. That's all. They didn't even concern. They didn't even try to critically ask questions through the press, through their publication, in order to get Gambian thinking and get the authorities to be held accountable. They failed. But as I said, these other institutions still fail. That's why we are having this. We want you guys to go and talk to your parties, to institutions, and tell them, look, we have to raise these issues. Why is this important? I'll get to that. Significant, we have not had the information from our national press, or not likely to see any significant action from our politicians in finding out why is this central bank governor seeking the services of Nigeria to print our currency. How did this story came about, even in Nigeria? This is the interesting point. What happened is, Nigeria, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the governor decided to print $150 million for each state to give to each state without the due process. That's how it happened. Now, a political party in Nigeria find out this and hold the governor accountable to say to him, no, what you done is wrong. And the governor said, I have the powers to print the currency. I am the one authority to do that. You see, Nigeria is having their debate. But what the politicians are having problem is the accountability. The transparency first, because you cannot have accountability without being transparent. The Nigerian central bank was not transparent on this printing of money. It was a political project given to governors. Where would the accountability be? If people are not aware that this $150 million is printed and given to governors, states, who is going to look after those money? Where the money is going to go? This is the reason why it came out. Then from these things, we realized that in fact the governor of the Central Bank of Gambia is seeking for Gambian currency to be printed in Nigeria. Now, we have to ask ourselves, is the Gambia Central Bank governor doing the same thing as the Central Bank of Nigeria? Are they printing this money in order to use for political projects? This is what we meant to ask. I am not accusing anything, but I am asking for us to be critical, and ask these questions. And who better to do? We have the right. We are doing that. We're doing our duty. This is a duty. Not only exercising our right, but we exercise implementing a duty of holding accountability. But that duty for what to what? For us people, you guys here, speak to your MPs, speak to your political party leaders, speak, and this will go on. Then we can have the authorities to be brought up, and we can have accountability. And we know if it is good for Gambia, so be it. It goes. If it's bad for Gambia, it's nipping the bud. But if we don't find out, how will we know it's good or bad? That's why transparency is important. You see, that's why when I started, I explained how it happened to the United Kingdom. Not only create this mechanism, independent bodies, but you have the access of information in order to find out what these bodies are doing. In fact, we need to access the information to do that. That's transparency comes, before accountability. You cannot be accountable if you're not transparent. You have to be held accountable through transparency. Now, we should not only be concerned about why is a country like Nigeria with a very low credibility rating print our currency, but ask the questions: what happened to the previous contract signed with the United Kingdom Minting Company? You see, let us be honest here. I know people who want to, or some people act to be pan-Africanist. Most of this is mumbo jumbo nonsense. They just want to belong to something. Look, let's look at our interests. Nigerians themselves don't believe themselves. Nigerians themselves don't believe in their institutions. That's why they're holding accountable. And since the First Republic, we have seen how currency was controlled. Gambian currency in the First Republic. You see the credibility of it. But the minute we had a dictator and started to undermine, to print his own currency, what did we have? Without using the system, but we have counterfeit. And every election cycle, they print money and use the old thing to put into the market. Nigeria is known internationally for scams. It's not been discriminatory, or you are African, why not, I'm not African. No, it's a bad country. If an African country can do it better, fine. But this is not the facts here. But not only that. Remember, Gambia, we have to be very careful. Remember, we had a contract and the former central bank governor came up with this project that we have to phase out the old currency with the IMS head on it. With new currency, durable, and everything they talk about. I think the company assigned was in a French or United Kingdom company. And I know before it used to be United Kingdom, but let's be safe there. I'm not sure which company was it, but it was a European company with reputable records. And this project still we don't know whether it's complete or not. We need to know. Now, did they phase out? Is the old currency still in circulation? You cannot have two currencies going continuously. There must be a time you said that the old currency will be normal. Now, everybody who has this old currency, bring it out. Take it to the bank. Let it be changed. But as far as I know, for a few months ago, the old currency was still in circulation. Is it in circulation today? People that know will tell us. Now, is that contract finished? What was the contract about? Do we have need to print more money? Why do we have need to print more money? These are things that we need to hear in Parliament. These are things that we expect political parties to bring forward. We should not be only thinking that 4th of December, my party is going to cross the line. We have to be prepared of when you cross the line, what you're going to inherit. We have to make sure that what we inherit is sound. And this is a way of holding the government accountable and expose the government for the corruption they are doing. But we are not doing that. But let's move on. I went on to say, what happened to the project of rolling out of the new currency to get rid of the old currency from circulation? Why did we have why do we have large amount of counterfeit currency in circulation? The $200 note, the biggest denomination, we have a large amount of fake currency in that country in circulation. They are already in the banking system and everything. How did they get there? Because you know, someone printing that denomination would not only print 1 million. He would print millions, and if it's not detected or not stopped, he would keep on printing. And the prints are very good. They are high specs. Yeah, there are companies. I mean, not only in the, before even the black web, dark web, or you call it, there are companies. North Korea is good at that. We know intelligence agencies that go and contract North Korean companies to print money for governments. I'm not saying that's what happened in Gambia, but whoever organized whoever injected that amount of money to be in circulation, someone received 20,000 and almost 5,000 of it was fake. That amount is heavy. You cannot do that just like a small person. You have to have connections in the banking system. I'm not saying central bank alone, in the banking system, I mean. Who have this? Who are these people? This is the cartel that control our country. And now we hear the government, in fact, not even restricting more, now they are dumping down. Going to a country that have no, poor credit, poor rating on doing these things to contract them. Why are we printing more money now, considering the recent financial constraint faced by the government in delivering their political project? Gambians will have to ask this question, Parliament has to ask these questions, and institutions have to ask them, why are we printing more money? Because they could not raise the money they needed. Now, are they going to print more money in order to pay for these contracts? And I know some people say there's nothing wrong with it, government is able to print. That's a lie. The countries have done it in history, have all gone bankrupt. We have seen Zimbabwe, they were printed. Uganda print before. And when you print, it's called quantitative easing. Yes, it's part of economic management, but have to be done right. You have to print in order to stimulate some certain part of your economy. But it might be infrastructure and other things, but it has to have a microeconomic policy that surrounds it, that makes it work. If not, it's just printed money, and that money would just cause more inflation because we don't. The economy would not be productive, and if it's not productive, what happened? And then we have inflation because we don't have more money coming in. It's not sustainable. This is the reason that happened. You give a contract to a company. That company might be foreign, or the company change the money because of the money. Dallas is, it's not stable, and they have the money. They put it into Dallas, foreign currency, and put it outside the country, or put it in a safe. That's what we see happening in the country. That's why we have to be very careful. But another point too. Remember the role played by Social Security and the Central Bank of the Gambia, exposed at the Ghana Commission. Critical thinking. Why was Managing Director of Social Security redeployed? Why is the Chairman of Board of Directors removed? Why was the Governor of Central Bank redeployed? This is what we need to ask also. Why was Mohammed Manjan, Social Security Managing Director, removed and redeployed, which he resigned from the government? Or he resigned the appointment. Why? We all know the role Social Security played before. You see, that's why we should be proactive. We should look at our history. We know the same finance minister was the finance minister who started it for Gambia. Now it's happening. Not only that, I don't have time again. We talked about it before, the bosses and other things that Social Security they wanted to do. Apparently, they reduce the amount of buses from 150 to 50 buses or 20 buses, whatever it is. Now, are they not happy? Because of once they remove Mohammed Manyang, they put that in process. But again, they're not happy because of the board. Board of chairman did not allow them to do everything the way they want to do it. Let's get the chairman to out. Remember, Social Security, I can't remember how many board members they have. But tell you this, they have the chairman. If you remove the chairman and control the chairman, put the chairman in control. And we know the person put there will be controlled because we know the history of the person in Trust Bank and what the Ghana Commission have said that Trust Bank have done. And this is where the senior money is. Then the Minister of Finance have a permanent secretary. Minister of Finance is in the board. Permanent secretary, Minister of Local Government is in the board. I know of that's three. You control the chairman, you control two this thing, and the Social Security will under the line Minister of Finance. You see, the influence can easily, they can easily have influence over the board, and that's why we should think about this thing too. But not only that, the chairman, the governor of Central Bank was removed, and now they have a new governor. Things are happening the way they want it. Why was these people removed? Because they were not allowing Barrow to get along with his political projects. Now they put in people that will allow him to get along with the political projects. And these political projects are not good for us. It's not about being politicizing. It's about what it does to our economy. We need a central bank that is independent, that will look into the interests of the country, not based on political party. We need institutions, the Social Security, I'm telling you, it depends on holders. It's your problem now. It's a Gambian problem, but it's your money in there. If you're quiet about this, let's see what's happening. But Gambia, again, is bigger than Social Security. If Social Security goes, the money in Social Security misused, our own people will be suffering, but Gambia will suffer because Social Security is there to help the development of that country. We should hold that accountable. But did we hear our inter-party? Did we hear political parties? Did we hear the parliament and others? These are the things that we need to hear. And you are the members and we are the citizens. We should hold them accountable so that they can. This is how we hold our political party accountable. The final case ongoing in the High Court is another classic example of both the political class and the press failing to hold the government accountable on the very serious issues surrounding corruption and the abuse of power. There's a case right now going to the High Court. I raised this issue here, but you will hardly find this case in the Gambian press. You don't hear Gambian politicians talk about it. You don't hear Parliament talk about it. And this is an abuse of power. And this is about corruption. This is about I forgot the name of the airline again. The Gambia Civil Aviation. There was an injunction over an airline company that was in dispute. Two people claiming to own the same company. Now, the case went to court, and the plaintiff, people that took the case to court, decided to take an injunction so that the planes under the company would not be disposed of, sold off. Now, what they did is, and they were represented by Amiben Suva, Chambers. They took the case to the High Court and had an injunction against the Civil Aviation Authority. The Gambia Civil Aviation Authority is in charge, responsible, they have the mandate to look after the aviation business in the Gambia. They have that mandate. That's why the plaintiff took the case court and made an injunction on them to hold ground these planes, or to ensure these planes are not liquidated, because it was in the process of being liquidated. Through Silabasamate, they had access, the people that trying to take these planes away had an access to the president, and they bribed the president. Now the president gave a presidential directive to the then managing director of Civil Aviation Authority. That was Mr. Jammeh, I believe. I don't know the first name. For Mr. Jammeh to disregard the court and release these planes to the custody of the people taken to court. Mr. Jammeh reluctant and refused to do that. Before Mr. Jammeh was removed, the other guy is called Mr. The guy who was in Qatar, ambassador in Qatar, was recalled, start to process before he was even appointed. They started behind the scenes to process to remove they start the process to remove the MD. Now they start the process to prepare themselves so that the planes will be taken, and they will disregard the injunction. Now the civil aviation managing director was removed, and this person was put in place. Within 2 weeks, coming as managing director, he delivered on what President Adama Barrow wanted, and released these planes. Now, when they did that, obviously, the people that took the case, the court, the plaintiff, decided to take the issue again to court for the injunction. Now, the case is going through the High Court. Did you hear that in the Gambian press? No. Why? Why? Before you go out there on social media looking for things that people do and take it and put it on your page and call it news, or you see something being mentioned about Gambia in international press, you take it verbatimly from there and just reprint it on your news page, and you say that's news. You don't take time to go and do an investigation, you don't do nothing, analyze the issues and try to engage. No. But this thing is going right out there in the High Court. Nobody reported it. This is a serious case of abuse of power, disregard of due process. Do we know what that does to our country? Companies realize that the Gambia, the president can just give directives and court will disregard it. And you think these people would not follow this through? They follow this through, and the court verdict can be the managing director can be taken to prison. But not only that, the civil aviation can be fined a lot of money. This is what happened. This is corruption. This is abuse of power. This is disregarding due process. And not only that, we are not creating a conducive environment for investment. If you hear the word conducive environment, it's by abiding by international standards, abiding by the rule of law, due process. We are not doing that as Gambia. Now our airport is kind of turned into a regional airport. Who want to bring their flights there? We are losing credibility because of what the government failed to do what they're supposed to do, or because of political projects. Gambia continues to lose its international reputation as a country that has respect for rule of law and follow the due process. This is what we created. Guys, thank you very much. I've stayed longer than planned, and I don't even have the energy to sum up, and I'm a little bit busy to go and catch up with other things. But people that came late can listen to from the beginning, and all who I'm asking is to be proactive. And proactive to hold accountability to our politicians. Not only politicians, but to hold accountability to our institutions and civil society, and to ourselves to be accountable. Why we are in political parties when we don't hold them accountable? Why we make they do proactive do things they meant to do? Why the inter parties are not talking about the noise about tribalism? We don't have a tribal problem. I don't believe that. What we have is a politicians using tribalism to advance themselves. I mean, we have a problem here, a very unpopular government who have realized that he cannot win elections in the free and fairly. Now he's doing everything possible in order to win the elections. And in anticipation, he is looking into the sub-region, trying to get voter fraud. We talked about and all that, but not only that, now he's moved to trying to get economic police. We still didn't hear our politicians about it. We know the shadow they did. Now what they're running around is to try. Why is he looking into trust trouble? Why do we expect to have problems? If we expect to have problems, what are we doing to solve that? Why do we think that we need extra police to come from outside to deal with that? No, we can deal with that. Why can our politician leaders come together to discuss these issues? Why not stop what is causing it? So that whoever wins the election wins the elections. And I'm saying there's a narrative. And this is going to other political party members. There's a narrative being played. NPP, UDP, NPP, UDP. And if you are not proactive, this narrative, that's what's going to go to the ballot box. You are not giving Gambians options, you're giving them two options, NPP or UDP. And UDP will be happy with that option. NPP will be happy with that option. That's what NPP wants. But what Gambia wants is for Gambians to determine. The elections are not here yet, but we are in the process of it. The registration matters in order to determine how we going to, who we're going to elect, or how, or the party we're going to elect. Depends how we registered, how many people registered, who are the people that registered. As much as this thing, if we let foreigners register, we know the outcome. If we register and overwhelmingly register, then it's a possibility of having a very competitive. As I said, I subscribe to a very competitive elections. I don't have a political party. If I have the vote, I will vote. But I will not campaign for any individual political party. For reasons, I'll put it here. I'll put this reason here. My background is security. And I have a passion for it. I have experts for it. And I don't want to subscribe to party politics as a party member. Tomorrow, if the opportunity comes in to be part of a solution, I'll be seen as representing political party interests. No, I refuse to. I refuse to. I am happy where I am, and I will empower the politics. It's up to Gambians to elect who they want to elect. What I have right to, as a citizen, is to show my disagreements. And my choice would be made in a secret ballot box if I was given the choice. But to campaign for the democratization, which I will do. And this is what I am doing. My mind is made up that it is proven Adam Barrow is not a solution. He have betrayed, and I took this as a principle. From the impasse, I started to warn Gambians. After the impasse, I made my point. This is, there's nowhere I fit into this discourse with this man. This man is completely dishonest. I cannot deal with him. And he chooses to bring the people. How can I work with this kind of people? What I can do is walk from the outside, and that's what I'm doing, engaging from the outside. Now it's for Gambians to come out. And whatever happens, let's remember, it's not only who wins the elections, but whether we have, after the elections, do we have a vibrant opposition? We need a vibrant opposition. If we are not participating in these elections, and any party that wins overwhelmingly, Gambia will be in problem. Do you know why? A party can mean well. Once they win overwhelmingly and take over government, what we call complacency. They be complacent because they're powerful. They control everything. This is what happened to the Jawara government. They become, they think that, hey, let's people make noise. We know that we are winning. We have the biggest vote in the presidency. We had the biggest, we have the majority in parliament. We control the local government. Now, why should we care? That's what we do. Politicians, that's how they behave. But if we have a vibrant opposition, if regardless who wins these elections, we have parliament, enough opposition in parliament to hold accountability. If local government been shared between this thing, it will help us. And Gambians would, that's how we move on. But if we think that we have to disengage, if we think that we have to just criticize and not find solutions, that's why I said we should be proactive. Prevention is better than cure. We can learn from our history, a recent history, how we came about to undo this. How did we avoid conflict? We can do all this. And we can learn from our history, why did it take us, why did we get to a dictatorship? Why did it take us so long to get out of the dictatorship? Now we have these freedoms that we fought for. And these freedoms we should protect. Nobody gave us this. We fought for them. And if anybody come in here to tell you, this government does not abuse your rights, ask him whether did you vote for any government to abuse your rights. And again, let me emphasize this. Abuse your rights does not only mean to arrest you, take you to prison or police stations. Abuse your right is your right to health care. Abuse your right is your right for education. Abuse your care is a right for, clean environment. The rights to shelter, right for many things. Healthcare. These are things they don't talk about. They don't want to talk about all these things. That's why they talk about tribe. And finally, on tribe, it's a political problem. It's not a social problem. Why did I say it's a political problem? So I'm putting it on evidence, and I can, not anyone can call me on a platform and debate this. Have we ever heard a Gambian burial, and they said that the problem is the person is a Fula, and the Mandinkas don't want to bury him, or the Jola, the Fulas don't want to bury him, or Israel, the Jolas don't want to bury him? Well, if we go to our burials, do we see a difference? The only time we have a difference is where people point to religion. Christian la, fila mona em, sumadina fila mamay. But even that, we look at our culture. We go and visit our Christian. Some people go and stay outside the church. Some people go and stay outside the graveyard. That's how much even empathy we have. We just don't take it as it's in this and that we all sing Christian and Muslim. No, we know that because it's our family. That person that we taking out there probably benefited me more than my next Muslim family. Because of probably that was my teacher. That was my nurse that delivered my child. That was my doctor that treated me. And it's not about him or her being a Christian. It's the humanity. And what bound us together is that society. We don't hear problems on that. We don't hear we going to our wedding and say that the Mandinkas would sit here, Fullers would sit here, Jolas and Sarahulis would sit there. No. We don't even observe other things that are in religion because of who we are as Gambians. We are the most intermarried people than anywhere else. We are like an island. As if we don't have enough, we have to intermarry. We are intermarried and it's been going forever. We don't have a problem with that. Now, where is this problem coming from? Always is politics. Politics. Don't tell me my difference. Because it's not a difference. Because I might be a Fula by identity, but I am everything else because I am a Gambian. Because I have my niece and nephews who are Jola, Mandinka, and others. I am not even married to a Fula, and my wife and family are intermarried to others. You see, how can we differentiate this? You think that there's a Gambian there that have family intermarried to other families? Do we have that Gambian? Now, we don't have a constitution that allows you to make any policy that discriminates one. Now, if let's say, okay, it's not policy, the person might choose to do that. If the person chooses to use nepotism, nepotism is not based on tribe. It's based on connections. I might bring my nephew, who is a Mandinka or a Jola. That's nepotism. I might have a brilliant Fula come into my office. Best person for the job. I disregard him. And I choose a Jola. Not that I hate the Fula, because I played nepotism, because that Jola is more related to me. This part Fula is just because we share the same tribe. That Jola is because of my sister's son or daughter. You see, this is the things that happen. When tribal, no, we have more other problems than that. And give you a test, 2 tests here. Where do we live? When we are successful, how many of us go back to our village to live there? No, we go to the suburbs to be seen. This is what I can achieve. This is not about my heritage. How many people? I'm not saying people don't do it. My heritage, I am here. That's where I'm going to live. I am from Bakau Sankeba. I'm going to build my business. At times, it's not practically possible. That's what evolution is. Society moves, evolves. It's not possible because in Bakau Sankeba, our compound is this big. And I have siblings who are eight of them. I cannot build what I want to build with my wife and kids. And I need to develop, I need to evolve. And then I have to go and find a place. But if I go and find a place, what? Do I go and find a fuller place? Do I go and find a Mandinka place? Do I go and find a Jola place? No. I go and find a place where my money can buy. If I am rich and wealthy, I go Kerseling, I go Beaufort Heights. Go and look how mixed Beaufort Heights is. Because of the price, doesn't say Mandinka, Jola, or Sarahole. It's money. It's dollar sign, not even dollar sign. Some of those people don't take dollars. They price it in dollars. One, the place you choose. The people we marry. That's what Mandinka says. Kano buka jujenkeji. Kano buka jujenkeji. The person that you love is because different. The person you marry for different reasons. Married is interest. Yes. People married because they want to social mobility. Not only women, men. Men who want to marry into certain families. Because if they marry into certain families, those families have influence. Now, for them, is to build their chain, to build, build a bigger influence. They might come from a family with influence, they'll go into a family with influence. And that does not mean that family is the same tribe. No, it's where the social status of that family. Some people, that's what they do. The men will go, or the woman will choose to, no. This might be the most humble brother. But, look, listen, achievement, integrity and everything in that. But I don't have an appeal for this brother. The brother is a hustler. I don't want to start with anybody. I want someone made. Oh, this brother, I'm not highest and yet by our class. But you go for a brother that doesn't have integration because other things, because that's what we do. Hardly, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because we still have a culture where it's promoted, try to marry into the family. Some people say that during the Sigaldi, every tribe does that. And because of it, but the more we evolve, we become conscious, we disregard that. We look at other things, but it will not come to, when we think about this, and that's why is this important? People that make the statements about tribe, these are people that should be knowing better, or this, go and see where they marry people they want. They look at the women, they feel whatever it is, that's their interest. Then tribe should not come into it. But when it comes to politics, they want to reduce it all into tribe. They will not tell you about healthcare. They will not tell you about opportunities and all this. No. Don't be blinded for that. Don't be blinded for that. And it's for us to change the narrative. Thank you very much. And have a good day. Thank you.